Bah Ghoulie Show is brought to you by OTR Halloween Holidays.
Now, Roma Wines present
Suspense. Tonight, The Man Who Knew How, starring Charles Lawton.
Suspense is presented for your enjoyment by Roma Wines. That's R-O-M-A, Roma Wines. Those excellent California wines that can add so much pleasantness to the way you live, to your happiness in entertaining guests, to your enjoyment of everyday meals. Yes, right now a glassful would be very pleasant as Roma Wines bring you
Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here for the Roma Wine Company of Fresno, California, to introduce this weekly half hour of Suspense. Tonight from Hollywood, Roma Wines bring you as star Mr. Charles Lawton. And so with Dorothy L. Sayers' intriguing story of The Man Who Knew How, and with the performance of Charles Lawton as Mr. Pender, a law-abiding citizen of suburban London, we again hope to keep you in suspense.
Oh, no. You're perfectly welcome, I'm sure.
Thank you.
I'm glad to see someone come in, as a matter of fact. Night journeys are always a bit tedious, don't you think?
Well, I suppose it depends upon one's destination.
Oh, yes. Would you like a book to read? I've a copy of Hangman's Holiday here. I found it extremely
Thank you very
diverting.
much. I never read detective stories. They're so inadequate, don't you think so?
Well, most of them are rather lacking in characterization and human interest. But on a railway journey, one really has to
Well, I wasn't speaking of the characters so much. I meant the crimes. Bungled, you know.
Oh, but I don't agree with you
All
there.
these penny dreadful murderers are so incompetent, they bore me.
Oh, I say, I think you're quite wrong. The criminals in books are usually a good deal more imaginative and ingenious than murderers in real life.
Then the murderers who are found out in real life, yes.
Well, even some of those did pretty well before they got pinched. Crippen, for instance. Well, don't you remember Dr. Crippen?
Oh, yes, of course.
You know, Crippen need never have been caught if he hadn't lost his head and run off to America.
Well, that's the point, you see. He did lose his head.
Very good. Yes.
No, he bungled the whole business. It could be so simple. Now, just for argument, if you were going to commit a murder, what weapon or means would you choose?
Me? Well, let's see. I've never really given it much thought to actually. I know. Yes, I should use a sandbag.
A sandbag?
Yes, it's worked very successfully in 2 stories I've read recently.
A sandbag?
Oh, yes.
Pardon me, I didn't mean to be rude, but the clumsiness of it all, the elaboration, the lies, the paraphernalia, the alibis, absolutely unnecessary.
Oh, no, come. You can't expect committing a murder and getting away with it to be as simple as shelling peas.
Oh, you think that, do you? Well, you're mistaken, sir. It can be quite simple.
Oh, well, if it's so easy, how would you set about committing a murder?
I? Oh, well, that's different. I shouldn't have to think twice about it. You see, I know how.
You haven't tried, have you?
Oh, my dear fellow, it isn't a case of trying. There's nothing tentative about my method.
What is this wonderful method?
Oh, you don't expect me to tell you, do you?
Well, I'd never think of murdering anybody.
Oh, yes, you would if you really believed it was safe. We've all of us got a nice little murder locked up inside, just waiting for a chance to come out. Oh, why are all these tremendous artificial barriers built up around murder by the church and by the law? Just because it's anybody's crime, that's why. It's as natural as breathing.
That's ridiculous.
Yes, that's what most people would say, but I wouldn't trust them. Not with sulfate of thanatol to be bought for tuppence at any chemist's.
Sulfate of what?
You think I'm giving something away? Well, I'm not. It's a mixture of that and one or two other things. You see, all equally ordinary and cheap. Well, for 9p you could make up enough to poison the entire cabinet.
Tell me.
Of course, it wouldn't do to polish off so many at one time. Might look queer if they all died simultaneously in their baths.
In their... Why in their baths?
Well, that's the way it would take them. It's not the mixture alone that does the trick. You see, it needs hot water to make the stuff take effect. Just a hot bath, any time from a few hours to a few days after administration. It's quite a simple chemical reaction. It couldn't possibly be detected by analysis. It would just look like heart failure.
I've never heard of such a thing.
You know, it's very odd how often one seems to read of people being found dead in the bathtub. Have you noticed?
No. But look here. If nobody is fit to be trusted with this potent formula...
I'm not to be trusted either.
Exactly.
Well, that's true, but it's past praying for now. I know the thing, and I can't unknow it. Unfortunate, perhaps, but there it is. Huh. Are we slowing down?
Yes, this is rugby.
Rugby already, dear me. I must get out here. I have a little business to do with rugby.
I'm most indebted to you, sir. I've been quite entertained with your secret formula.
Thank you.
Just a moment. What did you say was the name of that stuff? Sulfate of...
Now, look here. If I were you, my dear sir, I'd just put it out of my head and forget it. Oh, there's a good fellow. Forget it.
Yes, yes, that would be better. I will try to forget it.
Tonight for Suspense, Roma Wines bring you as star Mr. Charles Lawton, whom you have heard in the prologue to tonight's study in Suspense.
Far to the south of us is our good neighbor country, Ecuador. Let's imagine ourselves there now, dining on the roof terrace cafe of the exclusive Hotel Metropolitano in Guayaquil, Ecuador. Near us, an American has just complimented his hosts on the magnificent dinner, to which his host quickly responds, "Ah, yes, it is true that our foods are famous. But from your land comes a rare delicacy also. It is this superb wine, so excellent that we in Ecuador import it from your United States. My friend, I drink to you in your own delicious Roma wine." Our Ecuadorian friend is right, for Roma wine's superb quality has won such favor in many far places that they import it, enjoy it as a rare luxury. But not so here in America. Here, millions know and enjoy Roma wines as an inexpensive, everyday delight, at meal times and when entertaining. So many, in fact, that Roma is America's largest selling wine. With no high import duties to pay nor expensive shipping costs, you enjoy these distinguished wines for only pennies a glass. Ask for Roma wines, which bring you old-world winemaking skill, plus Roma's own modern controls and testing. That's R-O-M-A, Roma Wines, America's largest selling wine, made in California, for enjoyment throughout the world.
And now it is with pleasure that we bring back to our soundstage Charles Lawton in The Man Who Knew How, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, Charles.
I've an egg for your breakfast, sir.
Oh, thank you.
They're quite scarce now, you know.
Yes, I know.
Will you have your tea now, sir?
Yes, please. Anything in the post, Charles?
Only a note from your tailor, sir. He'd be pleased to have you come in for a fitting at 1 on Tuesday next.
Oh, very well. Charles, what's the backstairs gossip in the neighborhood, Charles?
Oh, nothing much, sir. Mr. Skimmings, the old gentleman in number 11, had a falling out with his nephew and has drawn up a new will, they say.
Oh, really? Yes.
He's left everything to his housekeeper, Mrs. Digby.
Well, she's been with him nearly 20 years. That reminds me, Charles. I should draw up my will, you know, one of these days. And Charles, I shan't forget you. You've been more than loyal to me, Charles.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Charles?
Yes, sir?
Charles, has it ever occurred to you that an unusually large number of people die in bathtubs?
In a bathtub, sir?
Yes. You know, they seem to have a heart attack while in their bath, and they never come out of it.
It's a common occurrence, I dare say, sir. There was one in the paper like that this morning.
There was?
Yes, sir. Right on the front page it was. That's how I happened to notice. Here, it's this account, sir.
Oh, wealthy manufacturer dies in bath.
Mr. Brittlesea it was, sir, of the Brittlesea's Engineering Works at Rugby.
Rugby?
Did you know him, sir?
No, I didn't know him.
I believe the paper says his wife found the poor man. Heart failure.
That's a very peculiar coincidence.
What, sir?
I was just thinking, Charles. I met a man on the train down from Carlisle last night. He got off at Rugby. He said he had a bit of business there. I wonder what his business was. Oh, Charles, there's someone at the door. Oh, dear me, the bell must be out of order. Charles! Where is that other slipper? Damn me. Charles! All right. Just a moment.
Is anybody there?
I'm coming. Oh, Mrs. Digby.
Oh, I didn't mean to rouse you, sir. Oh, but Mr. Skimmings never kept a phone in the house, sir. And, oh, sir, perhaps you could tell me who to call.
Step inside, Mrs. Digby. Now, what precisely seems to be the trouble?
Well, I thought he was a long time in the bath, sir, but I never dreamed.
Oh, dear me, has Mr. Skimmings been taken ill? Is that what the matter?
Worse than ill, sir. All blue he is.
Dear me.
If only I'd looked in sooner, sir. But you know a gentleman in his bath how it is, sir.
Oh, yes, of course.
I must say I've always been afraid something of this sort might happen. The old gentleman would take his bath so very odd.
Probably had a slight stroke, Mrs. Digby. I dare say the doctor will be able to bring him round.
Not likely, sir. From the look of him, he's been dead for some time, sir.
Stand back. Relatives won't be admitted until the coroner's completed examination of the body.
Hello. Would you have a look at this card, please, officer?
Who did you want to see in there, sir?
Mrs. Digby.
You'll find her in the library, giving testimony, most likely.
Ah, yes, they've discovered the will, I imagine.
I don't know nothing about that, sir.
Well, I'll just run in and have a look round, eh?
Officer!
Yes, sir.
Who was that man who just went into Mr. Skimmings' house?
Search me.
Why did you let him in?
He persuaded me, like.
Do you realize, officer, what you may have done? Of course, officer, I have no right to say it, but that man may have gone in there to destroy evidence.
What evidence? Oh, I get it. You're one of them there sensation seekers, barking at the wrong team, my lord. There ain't no murder case here. The old bloke died of heart failure.
Yes, I know. While taking a hot bath.
Well, it happens every day. 5 or 6 cases right round this neighborhood in the past month alone.
I've been keeping track of them, officer. Did you know that in every single one of these cases, the persons who died left quite a lot of money?
I wouldn't be surprised, sir. This is a wealthy neighborhood.
All right, then that's my number, Mrs. Digby. Keep me informed of any unusual development, eh?
I will that, sir.
There he is, officer. There he is. That's the man, all right.
What man's that, sir?
Well, hello. We meet again.
Yes. I rather imagined we would.
Did you know the old gentleman, Mr. Skimmings?
only to speak to on the street.
Oh, then you live near here, eh?
Oh, yes, fourth house down. I'm just going back.
Mind if I walk along?
Oh, no, of course not.
Odd our meeting again like this, isn't it?
Most peculiar. Do you live in these parts, too?
I? Oh, no. I was only here on a little matter of business.
Yes. Last time we met, you had a business at Rugby.
Oh, yes, so I had. Well, my business takes me all over the country. I never know where I may be wanted next.
It was while you were at Rugby that silly old Brittlesey was found dead in his bath, wasn't it?
Why, yes. There's a funny thing, coincidence. He left all his money to his wife, I believe. She's a rich woman now. Good-looking girl, a lot younger than he was.
This is my gate.
Oh, already?
Will you come in and have a drink?
Why, yes, thanks. I should like to very much. I trust your wife won't object to this intrusion.
I have no wife.
Oh, bachelor's quarters.
Yes. I do myself quite well, under the circumstances.
Oh, you're right. This is capital.
Would you give me your hat?
Oh, thank you.
I think my man has gone off to bed, but I dare say we can manage. It's this way, please.
Oh, that fire looks good.
Would you take soda?
Yes, please.
It is remarkable how many people have been found dead in their baths lately, isn't it?
You think it's remarkable, huh?
Well, I suppose...
I don't know, perhaps it is.
I suppose I've been taking more notice on account of that conversation we had on the train.
You know, it is a curious thing how when once your attention is attracted to any particular set of circumstances, that set of circumstances seems to haunt you.
True.
Let us say, for instance, that you get appendicitis. Now, immediately the newspapers are filled with paragraphs about people who have died of or recovered from appendicitis.
True.
Uh-huh. You see it mentioned in all the magazines. You discover that many of your friends and acquaintances have had appendicitis. The thing seems rather to pursue you.
Yes, that's exactly how it is. And all these bathtub deaths, the sequence of events is the same in each case. The hot bath, the discovery of the body, the inquest, and the medical opinion, always the same, death due to heart failure following immersion in hot water.
Yes.
It just makes me wonder, you know how one does, foolishly, whether anybody else had happened to hit on that drug you mentioned. What was the name of it?
Oh, I shouldn't think so. I fancy I'm the only person who knows about that.
You a chemist?
Oh, I'm a bit of everything, sort of a general utility man, huh? I do a good bit of studying on my own, too. You see, well, I see you've some very interesting books here.
Yes, I collect modern first editions.
May I see that green volume there?
Oh, of course, certainly. I'll fetch it down. It's a Henry James. It's quite a bargain, really. Here we are.
Oh.
It's a charming book.
Yes, indeed. Well, it's a very interesting hobby.
Yes.
E. Pender, is that your name, Pender?
Yes, it's Everett Pender. You have the advantage of me now, sir.
Huh? Oh, well, I'm one of the great Smith clan,
Yes.
and work for my bread. Here's your drink. You're retired, I suppose, huh?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, only recently. I was in a bank until I came into this bit of money.
Well, you're one of the lucky ones, not married, comfortably fixed. Yes, I dare say you won't be needing any sulfate of xanthic.
I didn't quite...
Any useful drugs in the near future?
No. I shan't be coming to you for assistance yet a while. Besides, how should I find you if I wanted you?
Oh, you wouldn't need to find me. I should find you. Never any difficulty about that. Well, I'd best be getting on. No, don't get up. I'll find my hat. Thank you for your hospitality. I don't expect we shall meet again, but we may, of course. Things work out so queerly sometimes, don't they?
Yes. Don't they? Good night, Mr. Smith.
Good night.
I beg pardon, sir.
Oh, hello, Charles. I thought you'd gone to bed.
I heard voices and thought you might be wanting something.
Oh, it was just an acquaintance, Charles. Stopped in for a drink. He's gone.
Shall I take the glasses?
Yes, thank you, Charles.
Do you wish to finish yours, sir? Mr. Pender.
What?
Your drink, sir. you wish to finish
Oh,
it?
yes, of course. I thought I had. There you are.
I'll draw your bath when you're ready for it, sir.
Oh, there's no hurry. Tell me, Charles, did you ever notice a tall, dark chap with very thick spectacles and curly hair calling on Mrs. Digby?
Why, yes. Come to think of it, I have, sir. But then he always seems to be about whenever there's a death in the neighborhood. Lately, that is.
Did you ever talk with him, Charles?
Why, why not to mention it, sir?
You did talk to him, Charles. Why are you so upset, Charles?
Well, sir, it was about Mr. Skimmings changing his will in favor of Mrs. Digby. And the grey-haired gentleman, Smith, I believe his name is, asked whether you hadn't changed your will lately.
Did you tell him I'd left everything to you?
Well, not in so many words.
But you gave it away. So that's his game. Oh!
Good Lord in heaven, what is it, sir?
That drink. He poured it while I was getting a book down from the case.
What is it, sir?
Charles, under no circumstances am I to have a hot bath for at least 2 weeks. Do you understand, Charles? No hot baths.
Very well, sir.
Oh, Charles, in the paper, has anyone else died in his bath?
Why, as it happens, yes, sir. Here it is, sir. The inquest will be held tomorrow at 3.
The inquest. Yes, the inquest. Charles, I know what my duty is. I shall be at the inquest tomorrow.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, Charles.
I was not expecting you home for a bit, sir. You didn't stay long at the inquest.
I wasn't interested in the inquest, Charles. I went to the inquest only to see if a certain man would be there, and he was there, Charles. He was there as I expected.
Yes, sir. The afternoon papers come. There is still another of those bath deaths.
Another? Oh, yes. Yes. And they will go on and on unless somebody stops them. Charles, where was this one?
In Launceston Place, sir. A young woman this time. It's the most...
No, Charles, no. I'm going out again, Charles. I have some business to attend to. Over in Launceston Place, as a matter of fact. Goodbye, Charles.
Yes, sir. And what can I do for you, sir?
Do you have one of those old-fashioned sandbags?
Sandbags, sir?
The kind one uses to keep drafts from coming in under a door?
Oh, yes. Matter of fact, I think we may have one left. Oh, yes, here we are, sir. Not much demand for these nowadays.
No, I suppose not.
Careful if you use it on a stair landing, sir. One of these fell and hit a woman on the head, case I know of, knocked her out cold.
You don't say. Really? Well, I'll be very careful. Yes, very careful.
Hello. Bobby, you've got light there.
Right, sir.
Here you are. Well, thank you. Would you like a cigar to smoke later on?
Thank you, sir. By the way, sir, there's a bloke following you. I don't know whether you noticed.
Yes, I noticed. Let him alone, Bobby. I'm going to have some sport with him.
Right, you are, sir. Good night.
Good night. Hello, Panda. Come on out from behind that post. I know you're following me. I've known it ever since I left Launceston Place.
You should have told that Bobby to arrest me.
Why should I?
Because I'm going to kill you.
Why ever do you want to do a thing like that?
To put an end to one of the most fiendish careers in the annals of crime. You've committed your last murder, Mr. Smith.
Oh, come, look here, old boy. My name's not Smith at all. I'm William Buckley, and you...
I didn't imagine it really was Smith.
Do you actually believe that I'm responsible for all these bathtub deaths?
Do you deny that you are?
Why should I?
You told me yourself you're the only man who knows the formula for the poison.
Sulfate of thanatol? Oh, yes, indeed. You have me there, Pender.
And you stood to profit by every one of those deaths, didn't you, Mr. Buckley?
You have me there, too. Look here, Pender, you're a great reader of crime stories. Haven't you ever wished someone would commit the perfect crime and get away with it just once?
Yes, I have. God help me, but I don't anymore. I saw old Skimmings dead in his bath. Blue and horrible.
Now, look,
Ooh. The man who committed that outrage must die.
Now, Pender, look.
You, Buckley, you must die.
Pender, you're mad. You don't know what you're doing. Pender!
Well, Mr. Pender, what'll you have, sir?
Double brandy, if you please, miss.
Warding off a cold, eh?
Yes, yes.
You don't look at all well, if I may say so, sir. Ought to be home in bed, you,
I dare say, yes.
Just coin for the phone, Gibbons.
Right away, sir.
Say what's up, Tom.
Promise not to beat me to the phone, and I'll tell you.
Oh, if it's interesting like murder, my paper wouldn't print it anyway. What is it?
Bill Buckley, of all people.
No.
Gone to an inquest. Some woman died in a bath.
Really?
Buckley must have been on his way to interview the husband at his laboratory. It was a rough district close to the river. Somebody crept up on him and gave him such a blow it broke his neck.
Don't say.
Police say it must have been a sandbag.
Well, who did it? Do they know?
The vaguest notion got clean away in the fog.
Oh, that's too bad. Bill Buckley was a great crime reporter.
He was a decent sort, too. I worked with him for a time. Great sport, no end of a leg puller.
Oh, I know.
Did you ever hear about that sulfate of thanatol stunt he used to work?
No,
No,
what was
what
that?
was that?
Well, he'd look at you sober as a judge, he would, and then tell you about this sulfate of thanatol,
Sulfate
which,
of
mixed with a few
thanatol.
other things, he said would cause death if you swallowed it and then took a hard bath.
Oh.
Nobody believed him, did they?
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. He used to work off that wheeze on board booms and right-away carriages to see how they'd take it.
no.
Really?
Would you believe it? One chap actually accused
Oh, Mr. Pender!
What's happening?
Oh.
Hello? Why, that bloke has fainted.
How's the old boy feeling now, Charles?
Much better, sir. He caught a bit of a chill out in the fog, I think. I put him to soak in a hot bath.
That ought to do the trick. Well, if there's nothing more we can do.
Mr. Pender wants me to thank you for bringing him home, gentlemen.
There's nothing, really. Now, good night.
Good night, gentlemen. Is your bath hot enough, sir? Mr. Pender. Mr. Pender.
I found out the name of that drug, Charles. Sulfate. It was sulfate of thanatol.
Oh, sir. Mr. Pender. Mr. Pender. He's dead.
And so closes The Man Who Knew How, starring Charles Lawton. Appearing with Mr. Lawton was Hans Conried as Buckley in tonight's tale of Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by William Spear.
Have you had the thrilling experience of enjoying a meal with delightful Roma wines? Well, tomorrow evening, we suggest that when serving your dinner, whether it be fish, meat, or poultry, just place a well-chilled bottle of your favorite Roma wine, Sauterne, Burgundy, or Claret, on the table with the meal. You'll be in for a new experience in just how good even the simplest everyday foods can be when served with superbly flavored Roma wines. Don't put off discovering how much these delicious and inexpensive Roma wines can add to the pleasure of everyday living. Remember, thousands make Roma wines their daily standby for greater enjoyment at a cost of only pennies a glass. Ask for ROMA, Roma Wines, America's largest selling wine, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world.
Next Monday, same time, you will hear Miss Agnes Moorehead and Mr. Ray Collins as stars. They will be heard in The Diary of Sophronia Winters by the distinguished radio playwright Lucille Fletcher. Don't forget to listen next Monday to Suspense.
Presented by Roma Wines, R-O-M-A, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
They don't have it.
Trying to find the Nintendo games you want can be a lot like being in a Nintendo game.
Another dead end.
Come on. You can end up looking in all the wrong places.
Oh, no.
Stand back, son. Or you can go to Toys R Us. Toys R Us has the world's biggest selection of Nintendo games and accessories at everyday low prices.
Next time, let's just come to Toys R Us.
The Power Glove for your NES. Now you and the games are one. The Power Glove. Everything else is child's play.
See The Power Glove in the hot new movie The Wizard, starring Fred Savage.
Quiet, please. Quiet, please. The American Broadcasting Company presents Quiet, Please, which is written and directed by Willis Cooper and which features Ernest Chappell. Quiet, Please for today is called Beezer's Cellar. I looked at Marlena. Marlena looked at me when we heard this old guy talking about Beezer's Cellar. Get a load of this, Marlena, I said. And she picked up a French fry and ate it very quiet while we listened to the old guy. He was sounding off to another old guy, and the other old guy couldn't get a word in edgeways.
So this here Beezer, they always called him Six-Finger Beezer, see, on account of he had 6 fingers on each hand. He never did build his house. He got the cellar dug, and then he up and hung himself in it. Well, I don't know why rightly, but there was some talk about the cellar being dug into a cursed ground. Well, I want to tell you, there's been mighty odd doings up there, George, up at Beezer's cellar. What? Well, fires and lights at night. And don't you tell me foxfire. I've seen foxfire, and I know it when I see it. And this here ain't foxfire. 60-odd years ago, and moans, and hooting, and hollering all over the place at night. And trees are waving their branches when they ain't no wind. No, sir, that's a real deserted place. You couldn't get me up there with a 10-foot pole. That there place is haunted, sonny. I want another look there. No, sir. Ghosts and spirits and crawling things that hoot and holler. They ain't in my line.
You getting that, Marlena?
Gosh, no. Ain't been up there since I was a kid in short pants. A clique of us went up there one afternoon in the fall, And we thought we seen a skeleton laying down there on the floor of the cellar, and we cut and run. Never stopped till we got to the C&A tracks. Yes, sir, Sonny. Thank you for the route there. That there's a place to shun, and by golly, people shun it. Well, it's right out past the cemetery, where you turn off to the Strickfaden Road. But it'd take quite a lot of finding. About 3 miles east, there's a big elm tree that was struck by lightning.
Come on, Marlena, I said. We sort of drifted out of the place. The car was parked up under a big tree by the side of the road. Pete was sitting there with a P-38 pistol he brought back from the war, with his feet on the suitcase with the $82,000. We stopped to count it on the side street in Wilmington on the way down from Chicago. We watched the state cops go on past us down 66. Then we switched the license plates and jogged on after him. Pete wasn't taking any chances. He had the snoot of that P-38 in our faces the minute we walked up.
You ought to make some kind of noise or something. I might not let you have it.
Put the gun away for a minute and move over. Get in, Marlene.
Did you bring me a sandwich?
Barbecued pork, all right?
I could eat it raw. What's cooking?
Stanley's got an idea.
What now?
You're scared of ghosts, Pete.
I ain't scared of anything.
Well, that's good.
Well, what's this about ghosts?
We might run into a couple of them. Where we're going?
An old man with 6 fingers on each hand.
Oh, a cop?
He hanged himself 60 years ago.
What is all this double talk?
Quit hollering and eat your sandwich.
Listen, what are you figuring on?
I found a place to leave the bag with the money for a while, while things cool off.
Leave the bag?
What'd you think I was going to do?
In that cellar?
What cellar?
Stanley, are you crazy?
Listen, how'd you like to let me in on this, huh?
Listen, this is a haunted cellar, see? The old man says nobody ever goes there. They're scared to go there.
So am I.
No, can up, Marlena. There ain't anything to be scared of.
Only ghosts.
Well, you can always go riding around the countryside if you want, asking some hick cop to take us. Yeah, it's always the way with you amateurs.
I'm no amateur. I shot the guys, didn't I?
Who told you to shoot? Who told you which ones to shoot?
Well, what are you beefing about? I didn't say anything.
Well, I wished I'd never got into this.
For a nice chunk of $82,000, you wish that.
Well, but do we have to do it this way, Stanley?
You think of a better way?
Where is this place?
2 miles from here.
What are we waiting for?
That's my boy.
Oh, we won't have to stay around there long, will we, Stanley?
Why, listen, baby, you think I'd go there at all if I didn't have a hot suitcase to take care of?
Leave right away.
I will.
We all will. Whether old Six Finger shows up to scare us or not.
Don't, Stanley.
Which way, Stan?
Well, the old fellow said something about a road.
Strickfaden Road.
Well, don't look now, but the reason I was asking is there's a motorcycle coming down the road back there.
Where?
I was just kind of interested in our next move. Not that I haven't got ideas of my own.
Now, put that gun away.
I was only going to ask him a question.
But Pete didn't have to ask him a question. Marlena stepped out of the car, and she walked right up to the man in the blue suit, and she said, "How do I get to Strickfaden Road, officer?" Now, the officer told her, just as polite as the head waiter. He'd have been awful surprised if he'd known what was pointing at him while he was being so nice to the cute little redhead. What you don't know won't hurt him, I always say. And we relaxed. Well, so we found the road all right. We drove along slow, little old Model A Ford with Indiana license plates. And we were pretty quiet. I don't know what Pete was thinking about in Marlena, but I know what I was thinking about. Trees hanging low over the road. Trees that moved their branches when there wasn't any wind. And lights in the night that wasn't foxfire. Whatever foxfire is. And pretty soon there was a great big old elm tree alongside the road, and it looked as if it had been struck by lightning. So we stopped. And there wasn't any trees waving their branches or any funny noises. But we found Beezer's cellar. I wish we hadn't. There was the elm tree that was struck by lightning. And there was a fence that we busted down. There was a kind of path. Or it had been a path once. And it was all I could do in the dark to bust my way through the underbrush with a flashlight. And Marlena and Pete waiting in the car ready to go into a smooching act if an inquisitive cop pulled up. Smooching. With a Heine pistol aimed under his arm over the side of the car. It was a lot easier getting the $82,000 than it was crawling through the bushes looking for Beezer's cellar. I pretty near fell into it. It didn't smell very good. There was water in spots in the bottom. And it looked haunted enough. Kind of felt my back hair coming up, but I said, yeah, well, it's better than one of these little iron rooms they got down in Stateville. And I went back after Pete and Marlena. We ran the car off the road, hoping nobody would see it. We lugged the suitcase back through the underbrush. I jumped down. Pete and Marlena climbed down after me. Good deal, huh?
Looks haunted, all right.
I don't like this, Stanley.
Well, let's stash the bag and get out of here.
How are you going to do it?
We'll dig a hole, jerk, and bury it.
What with?
Well, didn't you... Oh, Ferd.
Oh, wait a minute, Stanley. I see something over there against the wall.
Flash the light.
I thought I saw it when I climbed down.
Huh. A shovel.
Huh. Ain't that convenient.
Maybe the ghosts left it here.
Cut that out.
Scare you, kid?
Well, cut it out.
Yeah, thanks, Marlena. Hold the light, Pete. No, turn it out quick. There's a car coming. Okay.
To make so much noise?
You want to dig? I'll hold the light.
Wait.
What's the matter?
Shut up. Thought I heard somebody.
Go on, dig.
Pick up the bricks.
Okay.
Let me hold the light and you can both dig. We'll get out of here quicker.
Okay. Boom.
Don't do that, Stanley.
Nobody gonna hurt you, kid.
No, but...
Here, come back with that light.
Come on, let's stop kidding around.
I'm going to sit down.
You'll get all wet.
No, there's an old busted chair here.
Oh, for the love of...
All right, all right. There.
Yeah, now let's go. Now what's the matter?
Stanley, you didn't sit in this chair, did you?
You kidding?
Pete?
What's the matter?
Somebody's been sitting in it. The seat's still warm.
And she dropped the flashlight. And it rolled down into the hole we've been digging. The light went bouncing down and down and down and down. Hundreds of feet we could watch it. Twisting and turning and lighting up the sides of a deep, smooth shaft that seemed to have no bottom at all. And there we were in the dark, down in Beezer's cellar. The darkness pushing down on us. There was a sound somewhere, way far off, that seemed to come up to us from the bottomless pit we had opened. And I swore. I lit a match. Pete and Marlena were leaning over the edge of the hole. Marlena jumped back and she started screaming. And she wouldn't stop till I slapped her face a couple of times. I said, cut it out. Do you want all the cops in the state to come running? She grabbed me by the arm. She was yammering like a baby.
I saw it. It was looking right at me. I saw its eyes.
She passed out cold. Only the quick grab that Pete made kept her from falling right down the hole. Well, Pete and I slapped some of the dirty water in her face. And pretty soon she sat up. She started to cry. And it started to rain. Look, Pete said.
Look. I don't go for this, Stanley.
Scared of ghosts.
Oh, nuts. There's no ghosts, but I think we can find a better place to bury our dough than Mr. Beezer's cellar.
Let's get out of here, please. Let's get out of here.
Cut it out, Marlene.
No, let's get out of here. I tell you, I know.
You saw a reflection of the match down this old well.
Well? Sure, that's what it is. It's a well. Some of these old houses had a well right in the cellar. I remember it from when I was a kid. And we busted into the well.
I saw eyes looking at me.
Cut it out. You didn't either.
We'd have been in a swell fix if we dropped the suitcase down the well.
Yeah, I'll say we would. Yeah, let's dig another hole. Shut up, Marlena.
Let's get out of this. I'm getting soaked.
Yes, let's get out of here, Stanley.
Go on, you two, if you want. I'm going to get this suitcase planted.
Come on, Pete.
Yeah. Hurry up, Stanley.
I'll hurry.
Wish you hadn't dropped that light.
Please, I'm scared.
All right. Cut it out.
Hurry.
Don't make so much noise.
I'll push you up first.
I cannot. Get up here, Pete. This isn't a place.
Wait, I'll light a match. Oh, on the other side, I guess.
What's the matter?
I can't find the place where we climbed down.
Over this way.
This side.
Oh, that way. Pete!
Yeah?
What's the matter?
Wait. Say, you know something, Stanley?
Huh? Know what?
Something's happened.
What are you whispering about?
Listen, Stanley, I've been all around the walls of this place, and that busted place in the walls where we came down ain't there anymore.
What did you...
Well, I'm telling you, Stanley. Light a match and look for yourself.
And I struck a match, and I shielded it carefully in my hands. And I looked around the walls of Beezer's cellar in the drizzling rain. And you know what? There wasn't any way out of that place that I could see. The walls, all four of them, was as smooth as glass. And from way, way down deep in the earth, I could just see a little bitty gleam from that flashlight. I thought to myself, I see what Marlena meant. It does look like eyes now, don't it? Down at the bottom of a musty old cellar in the middle of the night, and a hole in the floor that goes down, I haven't got any idea how far. And rain, and a hysterical woman, and a suitcase with $82,000. And no way to get out of the place. Great, huh? Well, you can explain anything, can't you? A hole in the floor. Sure, that was a well. The eyes she thought she saw. Sure, that was a flashlight reflecting on the water down there. And the way we couldn't get out. Well, maybe the wall wasn't as busted down as I thought it was when we got into the place. Maybe we didn't notice how smooth the walls was.
Yeah, sure. But how are you going to explain that chair seat being warm when Marlene sat down on it?
Yeah, that's right, Pete.
I didn't want to come here in the first place. That old guy scared the life out of me.
There's no such thing as ghosts.
You pick a swell time to make a statement like that, boy.
Well, there ain't.
Maybe there is no ghosts. But there are other things.
Like what?
I don't know. Like things that come up out of the ground.
Oh, cut it out.
Give me a cigarette, Pete.
You gonna sit here all night in the rain?
What'll I do? Fly out of here or something? Give me a match.
Wait, I'll spit for you. Here.
Let's get out of here.
Wait till morning. We'll find a way out then.
I wonder if we could reach the top of the wall if we stood on that chair.
I don't know.
You wouldn't get me to touch that chair for $1 million. It was warm.
Ah, that don't signify nothing.
As to me.
What about the suitcase?
What?
What'd you do with it?
I'm sitting on it.
Is it warm?
Hot as a pistol.
Oh, cut it out.
Cut it out.
Oh, I'm scared.
Look, babe, I don't like this any too well either.
Just sit close to me, please. I'm cold.
I'll move over this way.
Well, don't worry, kids. In another couple of months, we'll come back and pick up our little prize package here. We'll be warm for life. All of us.
If we ever get out of here.
Ah, come on.
What was that?
You do that, Pete?
No. What was it?
I don't know.
Stanley.
Oh, wait a minute, Stanley. I think I know what it was.
What?
Wait. Stan?
What?
Come here. Careful now.
In the damp darkness, I moved toward the sound of Pete's voice. He stuck my hand, put it on the edge of the hole I dug.
See?
What?
A couple of bricks fell in the hole.
Oh. Marlena, get back from the edge.
What is this?
Move back, honey.
Oh, Stanley.
Light a match, Stanley.
You got him. You like one.
All right, stand back a little.
And in the light from the match before it fizzled out in the rain, I saw what had made the sound. 2 or 3 bricks had got loose at the edge of the hole I dug. Had fallen in. And as I looked before the match went out, 2 more sagged and fell downward into that bottomless pit. Get back, Marlena, I yelled. Pete lit another match.
Look out!
The crack yawned open, and with a crash, 6 more bricks tumbled into the hole. Below us, I could see the feeble glow of the flashlight way down there. Seemed to me the things crawled far, far below us in that horrible pit. Pete and I dragged Marlena away to the wall. There was a rumble, and the mouth of the pit grew bigger. Seemed that the glow from down there was growing stronger. We sat there, huddled against the slippery walls, frozen cold with terror. Another section of the floor fell in.
The whole floor's going. Come on, we gotta get out.
Marlena sobbing and Pete and I scrambling at the slippery walls. There wasn't a chance. Then the rumbling stopped for a second. We flattened ourselves against the bricks. In the light that came up from down there, I could see Pete's staring eyes and the tears of fright shining on Marlena's cheeks. I said, we gotta get out of here.
Stanley,
help me up the wall, Stanley.
Ain't no use to try, boys. You can't get out.
And I looked up. And there, sitting comfortably on the edge of the cellar wall, grinning at us in the light that flowed up from the pit in the cellar floor, was the old man Marlena and I had heard at the roadside restaurant. The old man had told a lurid story about Beezer's cellar.
Ain't no use to try. You're stuck.
Oh, help.
Don't hoot and holler, lady.
Look, old man, give us a hand, will you?
I heard tell of a fella long time ago that got down into this here cellar. Just like you done.
Well, give us a hand. The floor's going.
I know. The floor fell in with him, too.
Well, help us.
He killed a feller down towards Manitou. And he come and hid here in the cellar.
Give us a hand out of here.
And the same thing happened to him. Never did find his body. More floor falling in, hey?
Come on, give us a hand up out of here. Help us.
Know what's down there? Fire and destruction.
Listen, old man.
Tut, boy. You know you hadn't ought to shot that poor feller at the bank up there in Chicago. Murder's bad.
Listen, we got a lot of money down here with us.
I know it. You're criminals.
We'll split it with you.
Don't want no part of stolen money, bub. Ain't much more left, is there? They'll never find your body.
Now listen, you old
Now,
bum.
don't call names,
Pete,
bub.
put that pistol down.
That won't do you no good, son. Too bad.
Listen, mister, for the... look, there's a woman down here.
Yeah.
Criminal? Like you two boys.
But look. Look out, Marlena.
Oh, Stanley! There's any place left to stand.
Here, Marlene.
Kind of figured you was listening to me back there at Saltwaddle's stand. Kind of figured you'd come a-kiting out here to the cellar.
Mister, listen to reason. Please just reach down and give us a hand.
Kind of figured I'd come along and watch and see what'd happen to you. Mighty interesting.
Oh, if I could get my hands on you.
You can't. Not unless I let you.
You can't do this to us. We are people. We are. Help. Please, mister, I beg you.
No, lady. No use of hollering. The wages of sin is death, I always say. You robbed and you murdered. So you got to be punished, see?
You can't sit there and watch us die.
Another hunk of the floor's going. You better move over to one side.
I'm gonna get that old...
Put down your pistol, Sonny.
Now get him.
I told you tain't no use.
Please, don't.
Get him. Get him.
Listen, Sheriff,
I ain't no sheriff. I'm just a feller interested in seeing justice done. I recognized you back there at the restaurant. And I thought to myself, well, I'll just toll these people here over to the cellar. And we leave things take their course.
look out, Marlena. Haven't you any pity, man?
Not much. Not much for thieves and murderers.
He's crazy, Stanley. There's an insane asylum across the river there someplace. He's escaped from there.
No, son. I ain't insane. Listen. What would you give to get out of there?
You can have half the money.
Ain't much time for bargaining.
Give it all to him, Stanley.
That's better. You ought to be willing to give up all the money to save your life.
Oh, yes.
If I was in a fix like that, I'd give anything I got.
Well, we won't.
Yes, we will.
Floor getting hot down there? Mighty interesting. Well?
All right, you can have all the money. Help us out.
Oh, no, you don't, Stanley.
Hang it up.
Stanley, how do we know he'll help us? Wait, don't give it to him.
Take it.
Oh, no.
And Pete leaped at the suitcase I was handing up to the old man. His fingers just touched the edge of the bag when another section of floor gave way right under him. He fell down and down and down and down, twisting and turning into the fire that kept coming higher and higher up the shaft, reaching for us. And the old man took the bag and set it down on the edge of the cellar.
See? That might have been you, fella. Or you, lady.
Help us out of here.
It's good riddance. He was the one that shot the fellas at the bank up in Chicago. Good riddance, I always say.
Are you going to help?
Sure. Right in the nick of time. Here. Grab a hold of my hand, lady.
I'm afraid.
You come, lady. Post her, mister. Oh. There you are. Just as right as rain. All right. Now, you.
And as the strong arms of the old man lifted me up over the lip of the cellar wall, the last section of the floor below us fell away into the fire. And just as if a play or something was over, the flames died down. First they were yellow, then purple, and then they just went out. Marlena grabbed my arm.
Where did he go, Stanley? Where did he go?
I don't... Hey, old man! Hey!
Stanley.
Come on, let's get out of here. Oh! What's this? Oh. Marlena.
What?
He didn't take the money. It's right here. And so I picked up the suitcase, and Marlena and I hacked our way through all that underbrush back to the road. We were just opening the door to the car to get in, go away from Beezer's cellar, when there was sawed-off shotguns in our faces and lights. I could see the state cop's badge behind the light. They laughed and said, "Come on, kids, we're going for a ride." And it's very comfortable here in the little iron room at Stateville. Then I hear that Marlena's all right down there at the women's prison at Dwight. She can stay there for 20 years. Me? Well, I'm going to move. They got a tight little room here for people to get mixed up in murders. Little room you can walk into, but you can't walk out. All modern conveniences. Electricity and everything. Well, the old fellow said the wages of sin is death. And I guess I'd rather be here than in Beezer's cellar. really am pretty grateful to the little old fella. The little old fella with the 6 fingers on the hand that pulled me out.
The title of today's Quiet Please story is Beezer's Cellar. It was written and directed by Willis Cooper, and the man who spoke to you was Ernest Chappell.
And Lotta Stavisky played Marlena. Warren Stevens was Pete, and the 6-fingered old man was Charles Eggleston. As usual, music for Quiet Please is played by Albert Berman. Now for a word about next week, Willis Cooper.
Thank you for listening to Quiet Please. Next week I have a story for you called And Jeannie Dreams of Me.
And so until next week at the same time, I am quietly yours, Ernest Chappell.
Now a listening reminder. Today, David Harding Counter Spy is dedicated to Employ the Physically Handicapped Week. Be sure to tune in. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.